Each week we bring you all of the latest film news.
From interviews with filmmakers and actors to the new cinema releases.
John, you can do this. You just go and you don't look back.
My whole life, I prepared my son to lead humanity in the fight against the machines.
Hello and welcome. I can't do it.
You can't, can you?
No. Welcome to this edition of Art Alive Film, coming from Odeon Liverpool 1. I'm Tony Lloyd.
I'm Tony Lindsay. Coming up, an interview with rising star Sam Benjamin.
Good looking dude.
A review of Terminator Genesis. But
Yes.
before that, let's hear what Mr. James Cameron has to say about it.
The master.
I had no idea what to expect sitting down. I wasn't involved in the making of the film. I didn't direct it, I didn't write it. I'm just a fanboy. So I'm in a dark theater, movie starts.
The machine sent a Terminator back to the time before the war to kill my mother, Sarah Connor.
And I start to see things I recognize. It's being very respectful of the first two films.
Nice night for a walk, eh?
Your clothes. Give them to me. Now.
And then all of a sudden it just swerves.
I've been waiting for you.
And now I'm going on a journey. I feel like the franchise has been reinvigorated, like this is a renaissance.
Come with me if you want to live. Everything's changed.
If you look at why the films became classics, they had characters that you like.
The Terminator. It is nice to meet you.
I've been trying to teach him to blend in. I know it needs work.
The new film, which in my mind I think of as the third film, we see Arnold take the character even farther. Everybody responds to Sarah Connor.
Nice try.
For women, I think she represents a kind of empowerment, and yet there's a vulnerability there, because that strength comes at a price.
John,
Hi, Mom.
how can you be here?
We went from, in the first film, the Terminator being the worst badass in history, to in the second film, him being almost a father figure.
What are you doing?
John!
The idea of taking John Connor and flipping him to the bad guy.
What have they done to my son?
Survival's what you taught me.
It's pretty cool because you got to riff against expectation. It's all about the twists.
I'm not machine, not man, I'm more.
If you like the Terminator films,
Run!
I'll be back.
you're gonna love this movie.
Well, that's what Mr. Cameron thinks of it.
Yeah.
What do we think of it?
I'm a big fan of the franchise.
Me too. Me too.
Especially
one and
two.
One and two are my favourites. which
Terminator
are
Judgment
Cameron's.
Day is awesome. This was a mixed bag, really. It was. I wasn't a massive fan.
No.
Great to see Arnie back, and the muse in the script where he can age.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's allowed to
Yeah.
age, so
Yeah.
he can look his age.
But the first 45 minutes, correct me if I'm wrong, is a rehash of the first two movies.
Takes the word homage to another level, doesn't it?
Yeah, they really replace scenes. This is a reboot, folks. This is like, I don't know if you remember the J.J. Abrams Star Trek a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This sets the clock to zero again, so anything goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two, are Sarah Connor, played by
Emilia Clarke, Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke.
and our Kyle Reese, who's completely physically in every way different.
Yeah. Jay Courtney.
Yeah.
He's no Michael Biehn.
No,
He doesn't have the intensity.
And I think that while good actors, they just don't stand up to some of the heavyweights in it. Believe it or not, Arnie actually. He's really good in it, isn't he?
He is. He really is. I'm not
It's quite sad as well.
I'm not a big Schwarzenegger fan, but he keeps this film together.
And they do a nice father-daughter, which is pretty obvious the idea that she calls them pops, of course. But there's some nice touches in.
But you get J.K. Simmons is thrown in there. It's always great to see.
The only trouble is when they're on screen, the main leads just fall into the background.
Absolutely.
But Terminator's about action. What's the sequences?
The action sequences are brilliant. Just what you'd expect.
And if
stunts galore, CGI, but good CGI.
And if you're in a mood for a boss Terminator fight.
Oh yeah, you got plenty in there.
Yeah, there's some good
I
one.
think Jason Clarke is good as John Connor.
Brilliant.
Really good adversary lead man. So I won't say much more than that, really.
No. The only thing is with this time, we were talking about the time travel thing. Anything can happen now.
Yeah.
Anything can be changed.
And it does.
And you're like, you know, do you need to care if anyone gets done in or anything happens that you would normally emotionally affect you, because it's going to get changed anyway.
Yeah.
Or it can be.
And of course, it's a time travel movie. So who else have we got in there? Matt Smith himself.
Oh yeah, the Doctor himself.
The Doctor Who. Yeah, he has a little cameo.
He's a bit naughty in there, isn't he? He's not nice.
Indeed. But it does set itself up. Matthew Smith here, folks.
No
Matt.
No Matt for the Doctor here.
It does set itself up for a sequel, doesn't it? So keep watching the end credits. There's plenty more to come. The performance in the States has been pretty poor. Paramount aren't too happy with that.
I think it'll make its money though around the world.
I think it will. I think domestic is.
It's got to come out. It's got to be sold to, once it's sold on and DVD and Blu-ray release.
Well, look at Fast and Furious 7 this year. I mean, that's made records around the world.
I wouldn't mind a bit of time travel on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. What? Not go back so you didn't see it.
Just something to hide the camera.
Yeah, indeed. But like Tony says, if you're a fan of the franchise, go and see it.
Yeah.
Load up.
I've been waiting for you. You gotta get him off me! I'll be back.
What?
Hello and welcome back to Arts Alive Film. So, what have you got next up?
Well, we've got an interview with up-and-coming star Sam Benjamin.
Oh yeah, take a look at this. Okay, so our guest today is up-and-coming actor Sam Benjamin. First, Sam, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Sam.
Great to have you here. Start off, could you give us some background information?
Well, I grew up on the Wirral. I was born in Birkenhead, Arrow Park, and then ever since I was a kid, it was like that. Since I can remember, I've always wanted to be an actor. Really, even in like the reception class when they're like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you want to grow up?" And then so kind of like through school, it was always that thing of like, "Oh yeah, but you got to get serious now." And then, but then eventually I realised, yeah, it's what I want to do. I went to university in Reading and did a history degree. Okay. And then all the while doing short films and shows and things like that, and I ended up on a National Student Drama Festival training thing with Patrick Stewart. So that was what made me go like, okay, I want to do it and I can do it. And then I finished uni, didn't have any money, went back up here, and then got a job in a bank, saved the money for a year, and then auditioned for drama school, went to drama school, and then
And what was the reaction at home when you said you wanted to move into acting?
Yeah, it was mixed. It's always that some people are like, oh yeah, that's well good, but then other people are like, come on, or some people just ignore it and think it's a phase, like, oh but
well, you folks tend to think of the practical worry.
Yeah, which is understandable.
And your friends think it's unobtainable.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it was that thing, but I've had great support from my family, and a lot of, even though none of my family have been in the entertainment industry at all, at the same time, and they all kind of deny this, but all of them are entertainers, like in their own way. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that thing of you're watching. Got my action movies from my dad on a Saturday night, and then. The kind of the gritty, soaps in the Brookside, ER from my mum, and watching classic Gene Kelly with my nan, or You know, so it's all there.
Why acting then? Why performance? Why the performance side of things?
The film that I always credit with being one of my one of the ones where I was like, oh my god, like I want to do that was well, there was two. There was one which was the Tim Burton Batman, the 1989 one with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. There was just something about, because when I was younger I was quite shy, and I can just remember those scenes with Michael Keaton, like when he's alone, when he's like in the cave and he's just kind of thinking things through, and he's, finding his determination and things like that, and I kind of related to that.
Right, hopefully not sleeping upside down from a coach.
Well, I've always wanted to do that, but okay. That's a good scene.
So what was the other?
The other one was actually one of my earliest cinema memories, or favourite cinema memories, was watching the first Mission Impossible film, and seeing Tom Cruise, and just thinking, because he was the first guy that I saw and I thought, okay, like, because when I was watching film, I didn't look like Sylvester Stallone, I didn't look like Bruce Willis, I didn't look like, whoever it might be, but Tom Cruise was the first guy. I was like, oh, you can kind of, it's doable. I can, I can see myself in that kind of role. That's the kind of role I want to do. Action and romance and that kind of thing.
So you've got your history degree,
yeah,
and how did you make the move towards? Where did you study drama?
I studied at Drama Studio London.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, I went there in 2000 and I think it was 2008, 2009, and yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I auditioned for a few drama schools, and I had I got offers from quite a few, but I chose them because they had and they still do have a very strong emphasis on the business side of it, not just the show but the business as well.
Okay.
Which I like, because at the end of the day there's no point going into it if you can't make a living out of it, and that is part of it.
Tell us the story about what one of your tutors.
Oh yeah, so when we there's a director called Crispin Harris who had a big influence on me actually during my training at Drama Studio, and he got us all together in the first week, and he said, you're all here, and he was like, we're going to do two things. We're going to teach you how to act, but we're also going to teach you how to get work as an actor. And then he said, you're not here because you're necessarily the best actors that we saw, but because we think you can get work as an actor, which I think was really... I like that approach, because it's, it is a business, so... Okay. And obviously I think they probably also looked at people's drive and their staying power and things like that, and tried to...
So why do a short film? What was the thinking behind it?
Why do a short film?
And go through all of that turmoil, which we know it is.
Well, tell us about the short film. Double Cross.
Yeah, so it's called Double Cross. It's a crime caper movie about two con artists that bite off more than they can chew. And we made it with, it was kind of Kyla Fry, who's the other star of the film. She and we had met about 5 years previous in kind of events or theatres or shows, and we were kind of both of us auditioning and doing bits of TV, bits of film, and we all the time we were like, oh, why is no one making a film like this? Why is no one making a film like this? So eventually we got together, and we always said that, we should work together. How good would it be if someone cast us in a film in these kind of roles? So eventually we were just like, well, why don't we just do it? So that was where the motivation came from, is actually the desire to do that kind of story and that kind of role, rather than...
So it's a show card for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and also because we're both like big lovers of Hollywood films, and that kind of that kind of scale of film with style, with
big genre movies.
Yeah, genre movies, and just movies that their primary function is to take the audience on the best and most entertaining journey possible.
And would you continue with the writing, do you think?
Oh yeah, that's because I've, as well as writing things off my own backs and producing them, I've got a couple of TV deals that are being negotiated between my writing agent and I'm talking to Line Pictures about a project that I've written, a screenplay. So yeah, it's very much, they kind of go hand in hand, because the more scripts you read, the more auditions you do, the more parts you play, the more films you watch. It is that love of, it's just a pure love of film.
So what type of things have you been watching? Sometimes we have to do that just to keep ourselves going.
Recently, in terms of film, trying to think what I've watched. I mean, going kind of, you know, backwards, I just watched Jurassic World, which I saw that you guys reviewed, which I thought was absolutely spot on. It just hit every mark it needed to hit, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then I watched Prisoners recently, the one with Hugh Jackman, Terrence Howard, Jake Gyllenhaal, Viola Davis. Yeah, that really gripped me.
How about Jake Gyllenhaal? Is he a hero of yours?
He's not one of my go-to. If you were to say, "Oh, who are your inspirations?" I'd be going, you know, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton, George Clooney. Those are the kind of guys that I've watched and kind of really connected with. But Jake Gyllenhaal's, he's kind of been a sleeper because when I watched Prisoners, for example, I don't know if you. It's that role was just like, because I loved him in Brokeback Mountain as well.
Brilliant.
But that role,
the pair of them were great.
Yeah. But that role in Prisoners was like, you know, just watchable.
Well, he's great in the one about the media, the
Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
have you
I haven't seen that one. That's on my list. Yeah. And he was good in.
He lost a lot of weight for that. He said, I just saw this character as mean and very lame.
Would you do that? Would you do the old method? Tell us about the method thing. Are you a big believer in the method?
I think it depends on. I think loads of people have different definitions of what the method is. It's kind of become its own. It's got. It's kind of a term that's very like, oh, are you method, or what does method mean? Does it mean that you've got to live for a tramp for 2 years to play a tramp or whatever it is? I think you have to use different approaches for different roles. If the role requires it, you know, if it's a role that's far away from yourself, then you've got to take the journey to that role by, you know, doing different things or whatever that means, whether it be the occupation or.
Okay. So the future then, Sam, where are you going from here?
So Double Cross, we've got a premiere in London at the Lyric Hammersmith Cinema. And then we've submitted it to quite a few of the big festivals. So we'll be waiting for what festivals we've got into. And then in terms of other things, I've just filmed a part for an E4 show that I can't actually say what it is, but that'll be coming out later this year. And lots of auditions at the moment. And I've been writing a superhero series that a TV company is interested in, so it's kind of early stages of that. But just generally and trying to find those exciting projects really.
So do you have any advice for up and coming young actors?
Lots of advice. Let me think. I think one good thing is to very often it's quite it can be quite a lonely pursuit, and a lot of the time you've got to just. A lot of the time you have got to listen to people, but a lot of the time you've got to ignore a lot of, you know, because there's going to be a lot of voices around you that are going, no. So sometimes you just got to go, no, like put the blinkers on, I'm going there, like that's it, you know, like a sprinter. That's where
I'd say that's some good advice.
Okay, well, thanks for coming in, Sam, and speaking to us.
Great.
Next up, let's take a closer look at the trailer. Double Cross.
The art of the con isn't just about gambling, or cheating, or taking risks.
It's about everyday interactions that can be used for the purposes of deception.
What if there's something you want?
Something you would give almost anything to have.
Well, that's it for this week.
Next week we're in the microscopic world of
Ant-Man!
Scott, I've been watching you for a while now. You're different. Now, don't let anyone tell you that you have nothing to offer. Second chances don't come around all that often. I suggest you take a really close look at it. This is your chance to earn that look in your daughter's eyes. to become the hero that she already thinks you are. It's not about saving our world. It's about saving theirs. Scott, I need you to be the Ant-Man.
Huh.
One question. Is it too late to change the name?
Each week we bring you all of the latest film news.
From interviews with filmmakers and actors, to local events, to the new cinema releases.
Join us every Tuesday evening on Bay TV Liverpool.